My name is David Eastridge, and we've been in Cabot since about February of 2019, so we're kind of new to Cabot. And so the question is why do I give? So, well, to understand why I give, we've got to go all the way back to 1980. I'm sitting in Phoenix, Arizona. I have 3 young daughters and a wife, and I found myself unemployed, unable to find a job, and trying to figure out how I'm going to take care of the family. The church that we were attending had graciously paid the rent in the apartment for another month. I was broke. I decided to, I broke down on my knees and said, God, I got to do something different. I'll make an agreement with you. If you'll take care of my family, not me, but my family from here on out, I'll clean up some of the ugly things in my life, the things that are disappointing. I had been a heavy drinker. I had a violent temper. I gave those 2 things up. I quit drinking, didn't touch alcohol for probably 30 years. Believe it or not, that very day I stopped at my mom's house to check for messages because 1980 we didn't have cell phones. So I called my aunt in Texas, and lo and behold, that very day she called me back. There was a guy looking for jobs or for people to do the jobs. I called him up, and the guy gave me a job over the phone. He'd never seen me, never had an interview with him. And so off to Texas we went. While we were in Texas, we began going to the church, and there were a lot of things that happened in Texas, from almost losing one of our daughters to watching the church that we were in, that I was serving as a deacon in, literally divide itself in half over, just to me, a foolish, ridiculous thing. I was devastated. My wife and I couldn't take it anymore. I literally went home, rented a U-Haul truck, packed up everything we owned, and moved back to Phoenix. Basically, I turned my back on the church. We didn't attend church or go to church for 25 plus years. I relocated to California and then ultimately to Nebraska. While I was in western Nebraska, some friends and coworkers kept encouraging us, y'all need to come back, you need to come to church, you need to come visit this church. And so we finally decided to go back to church, got involved with that church, and everything was going along good, and we had bought a little piece of land, and things were going the right direction, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. We started giving back to the church again, and everything was looking good. And our plans and God's plans aren't always the same. We wound up being advised in October of 2018 that the facilities that I worked at for the railroad were going to be closed. And we had 2 choices of moves. We could either go to North Platte, Nebraska, or we could come to North Little Rock, Arkansas. Guess you can figure out which one I took. I still don't exactly know why I'm in Arkansas, but I'm here. We started looking for churches online because modern technology was out and you can actually watch the services and get a feel for the church. And we were watching one Sunday morning, and that beautiful angelic voice was singing on there, and that was it. That kind of did it for us. Between that and Spencer, we decided this was the place that we should come. And so we started back to church, started back giving, and everything was going along. And then the company decided that they were going to close up part of the facilities for a few months. And so I got furloughed. So I spent 5 months, and there was lots of people in this church that prayed us through it, and wasn't sure if we were going to have the funds or anything like that, what we needed to carry us through. And the reason I bring that up is because when I look back, even when I turned my back on God and walked away from the church and didn't have anything to do with the church, I dug some pretty good messes for myself, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, all of it. And through all of it, God was always there. He took care of us. He provided for us. I'm the one that failed. I didn't keep my end of the agreement, but He did. That's one reason why I give. But you know what? Giving is more than just money. Giving is your time and your talents, and we all have different things we're good at. We all have different things we can do. Chris Hart put out a note on Facebook asking for somebody to pull the trailer and pick up the donations for the pantry. And being furloughed at the time and not working, I figured, well, I got time, I can do it. So I volunteered. And if you've never been blessed like that, you can't understand it. But on Friday mornings, the highlight of my week, I get to go pick up the trailer, go pick up the donations, and come back and work with some great ladies and watch what this church does for the community with what God's given us. That's what it's all about. Giving is giving of yourself, loving on other people. Don't expect anything in return. I guarantee you, you cannot outgive God.